everybody, just in case anybody is following along. I'm not sure anyone actually is or not, which I totally understand if you're not. This isn't very exciting at the moment. We kind of had a change of plans in what we're doing to add to our family, to grow our family. We had our heart set on surrogacy just because about 6 years ago we looked into domestic infant adoption and we heard so many horror stories. The cost was definitely less than what surrogacy is, but at the time, with what we were both making just being married, it was way out of reach for us. And I don't think there was the resources that there are now to help people who are wanting to adopt. Anyways, we talked to the financial advisor about saving for surrogacy, doing all of that. It's just not in the cards for us right now, especially in the time frame that we're wanting to have a baby. It's not doable. We don't have the credit to get a loan like I wanted to do, or we were gonna have to do. So we're back into looking to domestic infant adoption. The price for that right now through an agency is between like $30,000 and $60,000. The agency we're looking at is right around $45,000, which I mean is still a lot of money. We don't have anything saved. What I have in my 401k, I can't take out until after the adoption's finalized, so it's not going to help us with the cost of the adoption, because we took out a loan a few years ago to buy a vehicle. So I'm paying on that loan, so I can't withdraw from my 401k until that's completely paid off, which is a few years down the road. Anyways, a lot of the horror stories that we heard about 6 years ago when we were looking into this, a lot of agencies have found ways around that, to keep that stuff from happening. The agency we're looking into, or that we got pre-approved through, so the one that we're going to be working with, they charge a flat rate fee for the matching and everything like that. So to get started, you pay them a certain amount. There's no match fee or anything. It's just their fees for using the agency, for them doing all of the grunt work, doing, figuring out all the legal stuff, getting you matched, making your website, just doing everything that needs done in order for the adoption to go through and everything to be legal. So you pay them that fee. If you get matched with a birth mother and then it ends up not working out, say she ends up deciding to keep that baby, or another family member steps up or something like that, back about 6 years ago when we were looking into this before, you lost all that money you put into that adoption. That was gone and you had to start over. And we were just absolutely terrified about that. We were terrified about paying, $12,000, $20,000, and it just all going down the drain because people were scamming agencies. They were going in and they were pretending like they wanted to put their baby up for adoption. They would get this money and then they would back out because they knew they could. There was nothing legally holding them to that adoption. So now these agencies, they're not, if that does happen and the birth mother, which is great, if she decides to keep her baby, that's wonderful. Nothing wrong with that at all when it's done with good intentions. But if that does happen, you don't completely start over on cost. Everything that you've paid so far just goes on to your next adoption or your next match. So you don't have that huge risk of losing all of that money. Of course, you're starting over on getting matched, but all that money is not just gone. So that was one of the main things we were worried about with the infant adoption before. So anyways, a lot of rambling. We're still, stuck on having to figure out how to pay for this. I'm looking into things like fundraisers and things like that to try to make some money. It's getting to be Christmas time. People are buying gifts and things like that. So I'm going to look into some different kinds of fundraisers to try to sell those. People can buy them as like Christmas gifts and things like that, and we can still make a little money going towards our adoption. I also like the whole adoption process, or the idea of it, because you're actually helping a child that it needs a home. With the surrogacy, you're paying someone to have that baby, but you're creating that baby. These are children that are already conceived, so you're helping a child that's in need, and you're helping that birth mother as well, and giving that child an amazing home. So that's definitely where we're at right now. I don't know if surrogacy is ever going to be on the table for us, but in the end, we're getting the same process, or the same results. We're just wanting to grow our family, and as quickly as possible. We're not wanting this to be 10-15 years down the road. We're both 35. We want to be young still when we have our children, or child. Who knows, maybe two. We might just do this once. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, if anyone's got any ideas for raising money, fundraisers, anything like that, please let me know. Grants, I know there's a lot of grants for adoption, but they seem to lean more towards minorities and special needs, which I'm not against, but our first child, we're really wanting a healthy baby. Financially, I just don't think we're in a place to care for a special needs child, and that's usually why those mothers are putting those babies up for adoption, is because they're not financially able. With both of our jobs and everything, it's just the child care and everything like that for a special needs child would just be a lot, and I wouldn't feel comfortable having someone else with that child all the time. I'm already iffy about daycare or whatever as it is. So but that's down the road. We have time before we have to worry about that. It's still, obviously in the back of my mind, and I'm thinking about it all the time, but we have time before we have to work at that. So any ideas, kind words, advice, tips, anything, please leave them in the comments. Subscribe if you want to follow along. I'm going to record every aspect of this journey that I possibly can to let other families know what this process is like, and what they need to do to go through with this, and maybe make other people not so afraid of this process. I lost my train of thought on what I was going to say. Oh, we've been pre-approved by the agency. I've talked with them a couple different times. So our next steps are Tuesday. We have a Zoom or a Teams call with our coordinator from the agency. From there, we're going to just figure out what our next steps are. We don't have that money saved yet for that down payment that we need to actually get started, but they do have financial coaches at this agency that can work with us on that to figure out what we need to do to get to that. And then we also need to start our home study. I know you're supposed to start the home study and your adoption process at the same time, because then you might not have to renew your home study at the year mark. You might already be, have a placement. But at this point, with trying to save the money and fundraise and do whatever else we got to do, I'm not against just getting that home study out of the way and then just renewing it if we need to down the road. In the end, it's a small cost compared to everything else. So the peace of mind of having the home study done and being able to apply for grants and actually be full on in the process, where people might be more likely to maybe donate or help with our, help our cause, it would be a big help. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm just kind of rambling. These are just thoughts. I'm sitting at the gas station. I gotta run in and get gas. But yeah, any tips, advice, fundraising ideas, grants, anything like that, please let me know. Yeah, hope everyone's having a wonderful week. Happy Thanksgiving next week if I don't make a video before then. And thank you.